Thank you everyone for coming. Could you please take your seats? We're about to get started with the program. Thank you. Please welcome Mayor of Douglas, Mayor Donald Hewish.
Great to see everybody here in our beautiful town of Douglas and our beautiful college, Cochise College. My name is Donald Hewish, and I'm a proud mayor of the city of Douglas, Arizona. I was born and raised in Douglas, and I've served the city of Douglas almost my entire career. My wife Sherry and I have raised all of our 10 children here in Douglas. Douglas is home. We're a small border town with over 100 years of history, with a long-standing role as a port of trade and transit between the United States and Mexico. And I am really honored to welcome Vice President Harris to our community today. Many of my fellow border mayors are standing with Vice President Harris because of the solutions she continues to push for. She believes we must secure our border and fix our broken immigration system. She knows that that takes care, attention, investment, which is why she's here today. The Vice President understands the need for a bipartisan solution to border issues because she's worked on border issues for a long time. She's a former border state prosecutor. Harris went after, while she was doing that, she went after the transitional gangs, transnational gangs, and those that smuggled weapons and drugs across the U.S.-Mexico border as California Attorney General. That's not easy. But she was tough, and she's always been that way. And now, as Vice President, she helped bring border crossings to their lowest level in nearly 4 years. And I'm thrilled with the steps being taken to improve our port of entry here in Douglas as part of the bipartisan infrastructure law. That law was backed by Vice President Harris, which will stimulate our economy and be transformative for our community of Douglas. Vice President Kamala Harris knows what we're dealing with here in Arizona. Vice President Harris helped negotiate the bipartisan security deal, bringing together Republicans and Democrats to craft the toughest and fairest border policy our country has seen in decades. The deal would have helped bring order to the border, crack down on fentanyl coming into our country, and help keep us safe. It would have given us the orderly immigration system that communities like ours crave. It may not be perfect, but it definitely would have offered some much needed relief. But when it came for a vote, Congress didn't pass it. Well, here in Arizona, we want solutions. That's why Vice President Harris is here to offer, and Arizonans should take that into consideration when voting in November. We welcome you. Welcome to Douglas. Enjoy your stay. We love you, and we'll always have a place in our heart for you.
Please welcome former District Attorney Tori Verber Salazar.
Okay, wait a minute. I came all the way from California, heard of, woo! That's right! That's right! Let me hear it! Let me hear it! But I want to go back to California and say Arizona's got it all going on. So let me hear you. Let me hear you. She's driving in any minute now, and I want her to hear you in the car. So what do we say? Kamala, Kamala. Okay, that was all right. All right, I'm going to give it a B. You know, there was an arc there a little bit. So on your feet, ladies and gentlemen, stop the floor, clap your hands. Let's do this. Now that's an A. That's an A. That's an A. Thank you so very much for being so sweet to welcome a Californian and a Republican at that. Yes, there are Republicans in California, so we do have a few. But you, I have traveled around today. You are a state full of beautiful, kind people. Amazing, amazing. I had a chance to stop and talk to people, and they gave me their time, their kindness, and their generosity. That's a reflection of this state. So thank you, Arizona, for everything you do. Now, I had the great honor of being a Republican district attorney in San Joaquin County. We're not a wealthy county. 25% of the population of my community lives at or below the poverty level. We're not the Silicon Valley with billionaires. We're not San Francisco or LA. We're just working class people. I'm a lawyer and a small farmer. Not having a good year with the grapes, everybody. Don't do it. But I know what it's like. I grew up in the south side of Stockton, very tough community. And I dedicated my life to public service. And during that journey, way back in early 2000s, 2011 in particular, Vice President Harris became the Attorney General for the state of California. What a win for us. It was a win. Now I'm going to tell you a little bit because I'm a lawyer and I like to put on the evidence and the facts because I think the truth does matter. And at the end, I think I'll prove to you beyond a reasonable doubt there is no better candidate for the President of the United States than Kamala Harris. When I came to her, I said, my county is struggling. There's more drugs, fentanyl, methamphetamines, heroin, PCP, guns, children being gunned down in the streets simply for playing in the park, and human trafficking. It seemed like every time we took a dent out of crime, they swung back. You have to realize transnational organized crime, gangs, whatever you want to call them, they've got hundreds of billions of dollars. We have sheriffs and police chiefs begging for money to fight this war for us. So we were losing. There was no doubt about it. We were losing. And I went to her, just as a deputy district attorney. She didn't even have to take my call. She probably should have said, I'm the attorney general. What are you doing here? But she took my call. She was amazing. I said, I need some help. My county's struggling. What can you do? She said, bring me a plan. We brought her a plan. She was more prepared than anybody I've ever seen. She is, bar none, the most brilliant person in every meeting I've been to. She is. I often joke that I sit next to murderers for a living, prosecuting murders for 35 years, and I'm never really afraid, but when I go to a meeting with her, I am. Because she is smart, and she is driven. She's also very responsible. So we would go in with big grand plans of, let's spend a lot of money, you know, and it'll fix it. And she said, absolutely not. She watched every penny we spent. She micromanaged, if you will, every penny we spent to ensure that the money was spent wisely. Every day of her life, of her career, has been. We love this woman. It got so bad out there. There was crime. Sudden, we were bringing in hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of kilos of heroin and methamphetamines. We weren't busting the guys on the street, we were busting the kingpins. And she was sending them away, and my office was sending them away to prison for a very, very long time. And they deserved it because they rained havoc on our community. Every family in America is struggling with addiction and mental health. Your neighbor, your friend, or somebody in your family. And what she did is she said, people who need a helping hand when they're down on their luck, lift them up. And she said, and those who bring harm, bring the hammer. And I thought, that's pretty amazing, pretty amazing. So a lot of times people talk about the joyous, but I'm here to tell you about the badass. Excuse my language. Do not tell my mother I was cussing on national television tonight. So she is just amazing. And that's why I'm here. That's why because I'm a Republican, but I'm an American first and foremost. Men and women on our border, men and women in our law enforcement, men and women in our military fight for our safety. I sure as heck should have enough courage to come up and say I'm a Republican, and I back Vice President Harris for the next President of the United States. She will bring the toughness that we need. She will use it here in the United States of America, and she will use it abroad. But she will also bring the compassion and the understanding that we all fall down. And when we do, it sure is nice to have a helping hand. She is simply amazing. She is my friend, and I'm proud of all the work that she has accomplished. And I can never thank her enough for what she did for my community, San Joaquin County. She took guns off the street, narcotics off the streets, and she returned children who had been trafficked. She is nothing but amazing. So thank you, Arizona, for welcoming a California here. Thank you for your support. Sit down at your kitchen table, talk to your family and friends about her. I know sometimes it can get bumpy, but this is America. If it get bumpy, just means we're really passionate about America. That's awesome. So have those conversations, get people out to vote, make sure they understand the truth, and make sure they know this woman is just simply amazing. So thank you, and God bless you. And on the way out, let's give her one more Kamala. All right? Kamala. Thank you, Arizona.
like the way, said I like the way, yeah. You sail your ship now, let me be your cargo. I won't weigh you down, no honey, I won't weigh you down. I don't really know her destination, but I got a feeling I need to be her passenger. She could let me be your passenger. Sure, said I like the way, said I like the way, yeah. You sail your ship now, let me be your cargo. I won't weigh you down, no honey, I won't weigh you down. She's smooth, smooth sailing. She's smooth, darling. Sweet pretty baby, won't you be my lady? Sweet honey darling, you know I'm calling. I want you. For sure, said I like the way, said I like the way, yeah. You sail your ship now, maybe your cargo. I won't weigh you down, no honey, I won't weigh you down. So smooth, smooth sailing. She's smooth, ooh, darling. Sweet pretty baby, won't you be my lady? Sweet honey darling, you know I'm calling. I want you. Said I like the way, yeah. You sail your ship now, and it be your cargo. I won't weigh you down, no honey, I won't weigh you down.
Please welcome your United States Senator from Arizona, Senator Mark Kelly.
Wow. Hello, everybody. Hello, Ron. Great to be here in Douglas. Cochise County. It is fantastic to be here. I love this county. Thank you. We love you too. And Gabby Gifford sends her best. Fantastic to be here. So Cochise County is a community that understands the realities of living, working, and business along our southern border. What does this do? This creates opportunities with cross-border trade and exchange that helps fuel the economy here across our entire state. But here's the thing. It also creates some challenges, and we know that. But border communities and border states like Arizona deserve our leaders who are focused on solving those challenges. And you folks, you know who that is. Is Vice President Kamala Harris. As Attorney General, she enforced the law and went after the cartels who trafficked in drugs, guns.
Passed the bipartisan infrastructure law that finally will give the Douglas community a two-port solution. And folks, this is a modernized port for cars, for pedestrians, and then a new port for commercial cargo. And we saw today how this is going to cut weight. Reduce the flow of illegal drugs.
And as Vice President,
Kamala Harris helped negotiate the strongest, I'm going to say this again, the strongest border security deal, and the deal that Arizona needs. What that means.
what it would mean is more Border Patrol agents, more Border Patrol pay, effective enforcement, and more fentanyl detection machines. Would go here into Douglas. Well, hold on a second. That's not the whole story. We were this close to getting this legislation passed. This close. But then what happened? I think we all know, maybe not all of us, but at least some of you know what happened. Then Donald Trump told Republican senators that they had to vote no. This was the most hypocritical thing I have seen in 3.5 years in Washington. He said that he couldn't let this because he needed it for the election. And that's because he cares more than he does about communities like yours. He cares more about that than he does about Douglas, than he does about Nogales, and that he does about Yuma. He and Naco. I apologize for leaving out Naco. Everybody loves Naco. And we know why. Donald Trump likes to talk about problems. He doesn't want to solve the problems. Doesn't do anything for the state of Arizona. It does not. Our state needs action. And that's why we need Kamala Harris to be the next president of the United States. You guys got it. Yeah, since this administration took action to strengthen border security earlier this year, now get this, illegal crossings are now at lower levels than when Donald Trump left office. Lower levels. And when Kamala Harris is president, we will work together to better secure our border, to stop the deadly flow of drugs into our communities, and the immigration system. I'm supposed to end there. But I'm going to say one more thing. Folks, winning elections, this is not rocket science. If it was, I could help. This is just about hard work. Which team works harder than the other side? So please, knock on more doors, make more phone calls, work harder, and we will win this election. Thank you very much.
Please welcome Attorney General Chris Mays.
I see victory in November! You know, Senator Kelly and I just had the honor of going with Vice President Harris throughout the county in Douglas, and you know what else I saw? I saw hundreds, if not thousands, of folks standing on the roads to meet and greet with her, to just to see her. Thousands of folks in Cochise County, and again, I see victory in November. So it's great to be with you again. I am Attorney General Chris Mays, and it is my job to protect Arizona's citizens. But I want to tell you something. By killing the bipartisan border deal, Donald Trump made it harder for me to do my job. A lot of people don't realize this, but when Donald Trump killed the strong border security deal that Vice President Harris helped negotiate with Republicans, he that would have been placed at the border. That's what he did. That's right. And the bipartisan border deal would have funded the installation of those more cutting-edge inspection machines to detect fentanyl. Thankfully though, the Biden-Harris administration provided funding for the installation of those scanners. And that's right. Let's clap for that, because that's amazing. Those machines are now being deployed right now to prevent the flow of fentanyl into our state. That is leadership, and that is saving Arizonans' lives, and that is what we can expect from a Harris administration. Funding these fentanyl scanners unquestionably is needed. You know, and I think it's important to remember and to talk about it. More than 50% of all the fentanyl that has been seized in the United States in the last 2 years was seized in Arizona. It was seized in Arizona. And so the failure by these Republicans in Congress, led by Donald Trump, to put those scanners in and to allow fentanyl into our state is shameful. It is shameful, and it should be remembered in November. The border bill would have made our country safer and made the border more secure, and it was supported by allies of Donald Trump and J.D. Vance, like the Border Patrol Union. It was supported by those folks. And after Trump and Vance killed the toughest and fairest border security bill in decades, the Biden administration took action. Vice President Harris took action because she knew that we couldn't wait for help here in Arizona and in other border communities. That's why she and the White House implemented new actions to keep our southern border from being overwhelmed, allowing the Border Patrol to maintain a secure, orderly, and humane process on the border. And I'll tell you something else. She also called together attorneys general from across the country to the White House, including me, to talk about how we could tackle the fentanyl crisis. She did that, her leadership. And Vice President Harris's leadership is working. As the Senator mentioned, thanks to the Biden-Harris administration's actions, we have seen a sharp decline in border crossings. In July, we saw the lowest number of crossings in years. That's what leadership means. The Vice President gets it because she has worked on border issues for a long time. She has worked on these issues for a long time. I just watched her interact with Border Patrol and Customs. And you know, she asked extremely incisive, very good questions, because guess what? She gets it. She has been doing this work for years. She is a former border state prosecutor, and she was once in my shoes as a border state attorney general. In fact, as California's AG, she led a delegation of state AGs to Mexico to combat transnational criminal organizations. She did that. As former district attorney, attorney general, and now vice president, Kamala Harris has spent her career taking on and prosecuting violent criminals and making our communities safer, and she will do that as our next president. And I don't need to tell you, but the alternative could not be worse. Donald Trump and J.D. Vance do not care about fighting for a safe America. They said no to securing the border because they thought it would help them politically. On every issue, from the economy to the border, they've made clear that they are in it for themselves, not for you. And so, I want to echo Senator Kelly on this front. Thank you, number one, for all you have already done for our democracy, for everything that you have done for our democracy. And we know races in Arizona can be close. Take it from me. I am the poster child of close elections. I won by 280 votes. I think they may be in the room. They don't call me landslide maze for nothing. But let me say this. We've got a few weeks until ballots drop, a few more weeks after that. We've got an amazing opportunity to put Kamala Harris in the White House. Let's get after it. Let's do everything we can together to make that happen. Thank you very much. Love you.
concrete seas. Now she headed east down the boulevard, Duval. Sure, said I like the way, said I like the way, you share your shit. I won't wear you down, no honey, I won't wear you down. I don't really know her destination, but I got a feeling I need to be her passenger. She could let me be your passenger. Sure, said I like the way you steer your ship now. I won't wear you down, no honey, I won't wear you down. She's smooth sailing. She's smooth, darling. Sweet pretty baby, won't you be my lady? Uh-huh. Sweet honey darling, you know I'm calling. I want you. But sure, said I like the way, said I like the way, sail your ship now. And to be your cargo, I won't wear you down. Don't wear you down. She's smooth, smooth sailing. She's smooth, ooh, darling. Sweet pretty baby, won't you be my lady? Uh-huh. Sweet honey darling, you know I'm calling. I want you. Sure, said I like the way, said I like the way you sail your ship now. Let me be your cargo. I won't wear you down. No honey, I won't wear you down.
When it's cold outside, I've got so much honey, the bees envy me. I've got a sweeter song than the birds in the
Please welcome Teresa Guerrero.
Hello, my name is Teresa Guerrero, and I'm a native Arizonan. I'm also a single mom. I'm a single mom who lost her son after first losing my husband. My son Jacob died in 2020 at only 31 years old. He died from fentanyl
fentanyl to kill 3 healthy people. Jacob was an avid tennis watcher and a dedicated cyclist. It was devastating when he died. It still is. Losing a child isn't something you get over. But I've made sure every single day since to make sure his death meant something, which is why I'm here today. When I heard what Vice President Harris had to say at the Oprah Town Hall, I knew she was going to be a fighter for me, for Jacob, and for families like ours who have lost our loved ones. Vice President Harris understands what fentanyl has done to families and to kids in this country. That's why she backed the bipartisan border deal, the one Trump tanked. That would have allowed us to stem the flow of fentanyl. And it's why she's here in Douglas, a town that my husband grew up in and where we have so much family. Thank you to all the folks here today for supporting me. I trust Harris to get the job done because she's done it. As Attorney General, she took on these drug cartels that smuggled drugs across the U.S. border. She protected people when it mattered most. She's here today because she cares about us. She cares about our families, and she cares about securing the border. Now, it's my honor to introduce Vice President Kamala Harris.
Courage. Please, can we applaud? Extraordinary courage. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Please have a seat, everyone. Thank you. It's good to be back in Arizona. It is good to be back in Arizona. Thank you all. Thank you so very much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you so very much. I just wanted for a moment to speak about Teresa. We had some time together backstage, and you know, I think that in moments of crisis, such as the fentanyl crisis, there are people who, through their suffering and their pain, rise with courage in such a selfless way to be a voice for others with the anticipation and the hope and the hard work of hoping that their story will be the reason other people don't have that story. And you sharing your story about Jacob and your advocacy on why we have to stop this scourge is so incredibly important. And again, I applaud Teresa, and I know we all do. And our need to stop this issue is one of the reasons that we are all here together today. I also want to thank the extraordinary elected officials who are here. Senator Mark Kelly came with me. And his extraordinary wife, Gabby Giffords, traveled with me from Washington, D.C. to be here. And Senator Kelly has been talking with me for quite some time about the importance of this visit. And so I thank you in front of all of our friends for your work. Thank you. Thank you. Attorney General Chris Mays, who just tore up the floor. She is, you know, one of, I'm going to talk a bit about it in a minute, but some of the work that I have done in my career as Attorney General, and watching her do the work that she has done as Attorney General really does emphasize the importance of having the right leader at the right time, in the right place, and that's who she is. Mayor Hewish, I thank you for the warm welcome. We've spent some time together. You've shared with me the needs of your community, and I thank you for your leadership as well. And to all the elected and community leaders here today, thank you for taking the time out of your busy lives to be here this afternoon. Before I begin, I do want to say a few words about Hurricane Helene. I spoke this morning with our FEMA Administrator, Chris Well, and President Biden and I, of course, will continue to monitor the situation closely. We have mobilized more than 1,500 federal personnel to support those communities that have been impacted. We have food, water, and generators that are ready for deployment. And we are working to restore power for millions of people who currently are experiencing outages. And I just want to stress, and for the press that is here, to those who are watching, the storm continues to be dangerous and deadly, and lives have been lost, and the risk of flooding still remains high. So I continue to urge everyone to please continue to follow guidance from your local officials until we get past this moment. So thank you all. And now I'll speak about, in particular, the people who are here today and why we are gathered here together today. So Arizona, I think you all know, and this is why you are here, there are consequential issues at stake in this election. And one is the security of our border. The United States is a sovereign nation, and I believe we have a duty to set rules at our border and to enforce them. And I take that responsibility very seriously. We are also a nation of immigrants. The United States has been enriched by generations of people who have come from every corner of the world to contribute to our country and to become part of the American story. And so we must reform our immigration system to ensure that it works in an orderly way, that it is humane, and that it makes our country stronger. So I've just come from visiting the border and the port of entry in Douglas. I spoke with dedicated agents from Border Patrol and Customs officers who every day see the overflow of commercial traffic through the port. These men and women who work there and at other places along our southern border help keep our nation secure. And they need more resources to do their jobs, which is why we have and are in the process of investing $500 million to modernize and expand the port of entry here in Douglas. And why last December I helped raise the rate of overtime pay for border agents, and also why I strongly supported the comprehensive border security bill. Written last year, as you know, by a bipartisan group of senators, including one of the most conservative members of the United States Congress. That bill would have hired 1,500 more border agents and officers. It would have paid for 100 inspection machines to detect fentanyl that is killing tens of thousands of Americans every year. It would have allowed us to more quickly and effectively remove those who come here illegally, and it would have increased the number of immigration judges and asylum officers. It was the strongest border security bill we have seen in decades. It was endorsed by the Border Patrol Union, and it should be in effect today, producing results in real time right now for our country. But Donald Trump tanked it. He picked up the phone and called some friends in Congress and said, stop the bill. Because you see, he prefers to run on a problem instead of fixing a problem. And the American people deserve a president who cares more about border security than playing political games and their personal political future. And so even though Donald Trump tried to sabotage the border security bill, it is my pledge to you that as President of the United States, I will bring it back up and proudly sign it into law. me say, the issue of border security is not a new issue to me. I was Attorney General of a border state for 2 terms. I saw the violence and chaos that transnational criminal organizations cause, and the heartbreak and loss from the spread of their illicit drugs. I walked through tunnels that traffickers used to smuggle contraband into the United States. I've seen tunnels with walls as smooth as the walls of your living room, complete with lighting and air conditioning, making very clear that it is about an enterprise that is making a whole lot of money in the trafficking of guns, drugs, and human beings. And my knowledge on how they work comes from the fact that I have prosecuted transnational criminal organizations who traffic in guns, drugs, and human beings. My team and I broke up a heroin trafficking ring in the Bay Area with ties to Mexican cartels. We took down a gang working with the Sinaloa cartel to traffic methamphetamine into the United States. We seized millions of dollars worth of cocaine from the Guadalajara cartel and broke up a drug trafficking operation including pill mills and so-called recovery centers that were pushing opioids with deadly results. As Attorney General of California, it was 10 years ago that I brought a bipartisan group of American attorneys general and led that group to travel to Mexico City to meet with Mexican attorneys general to address this issue and in particular to increase intelligence sharing on gang activity, all of which allowed us to prosecute more human traffickers. And I started, as Attorney General, the first comprehensive report in the state of California analyzing transnational criminal organizations and the threats they pose to public safety and to the economy. So stopping transnational criminal organizations and strengthening our border is not new to me, and it is a long-standing priority of mine. I have done that work, and I will continue to treat it as a priority when I am elected President of the United States. And it is my pledge to you, understanding how solutions get formed, that I will reach across the aisle and I will embrace common sense approaches and new technologies to get the job done. Because I know transnational gangs coming across the border, trafficking in guns, drugs, and human beings could care less who somebody voted for in the last election. They could care less. They've got one goal in mind. And it is therefore critically important that anybody who calls themselves a leader would work with other leaders for common sense solutions, understanding the pain and the suffering that Americans are experiencing if we don't work together to fix these problems. And look, transnational gangs, one of the things I know about them, they are always innovating. So to disrupt them, we must do the same. And that means, again, working together in real time, grounded on finding common sense approaches, not just about some rhetoric at a rally, but actually doing the work of fixing a problem. And as President, I won't only bring back the border security bill that Donald Trump tanked, I will do more to secure our border. To reduce illegal border crossings, I will take further action to keep the border closed between ports of entry. Those who cross our borders unlawfully will be apprehended and removed and barred from re-entering for 5 years. We will pursue more severe criminal charges against repeat violators. And if someone does not make an asylum request at a legal point of entry and instead crosses our border unlawfully, they will be barred from receiving asylum. While we understand that many people are desperate to migrate to the United States, our system must be orderly and secure. And that is my goal. And that is my goal. Securing our border also means addressing the flow of fentanyl into our communities. Fentanyl is a scourge on our country. The nature of it as a drug is such that it is highly addictive and it is highly lethal. So much so that using it one time only can be fatal. I have met far too many families, parents, loved ones who have lost a family member, a child, to fentanyl. And their grief is heartbreaking. And the devastation caused by fentanyl is being felt from rural communities to big cities. It's impacting communities across our country, regardless of where they are geographically, politically, or any other demographic you choose to talk about. It's a scourge in our country, and we have to take it seriously. And as president, I will make it a top priority to disrupt the flow of fentanyl coming into the United States. And I know everyone here understands that most of the fentanyl in America comes from two cartels based in Mexico. Most often, they are smuggling it through vehicles at legal ports of entry, like the one I visited today. The fact is, border officers don't have enough resources and are only able to search a fraction of the vehicles that pass through their checkpoints. This is unacceptable. They need the resources to do their jobs. And as we could have done with that border security bill, I will surge support to law enforcement agencies on the front lines, more personnel, more training, and more technology, including 100 new inspection systems that can detect fentanyl hidden in vehicles. And we will make sure that our ports of entry, including airports and seaports, have additional state-of-the-art technology to detect fentanyl and the chemical tools used to make it. I will also double the resources for the Department of Justice to extradite and prosecute transnational criminal organizations and the cartels. Yes. I will ensure that we target the entire global fentanyl supply chain because we must materially and sustainably disrupt the flow of illicit fentanyl coming into our country. My approach takes into account also that the precursor chemicals used to make fentanyl are by and large made in China and then shipped to Mexican cartels and trafficked right here into the United States. Our administration demanded that China crack down on the companies that make those chemicals, and it has started to happen. But they need to do more. And as president, I will hold them to their commitment to significantly reduce the flow of precursor chemicals coming from China. And all of this to say, we must tackle this issue from every angle, because our highest charge must be to protect the lives of our people. It must be to understand the pain and to have the courage to know that solutions are at hand if we focus on fixing a problem instead of running on a problem. And on this issue, writ large, we must ensure that our country remains strong and competitive, which includes fixing our broken immigration system. And let me be clear, I reject the false choice. I reject the false choice that suggests we must either choose between securing our border or creating a system of immigration that is safe, orderly, and humane. We can and we must do both. We must do both. And we need clear legal pathways for people seeking to come into our country. And we must make our current system work better. For example, it can take years for asylum claims to be decided. Well, this is a problem we can solve, including by hiring more asylum officers and expanding processing centers in people's home countries. And as President, I will work with Congress to create, at long last, a pathway to citizenship for hardworking immigrants who have been here for years. For years. And deserve to have a system that works. I also have in mind our dreamers. I have met with so many of our dreamers throughout my career. They who have grown up in the United States, were educated here, pay taxes here, serve in our military, and contribute to our communities every day. They are American in every way. But still, they do not have an earned pathway to citizenship. And this problem has gone unsolved at this point now for decades. The same goes for farm workers, who ensure that we have food on our tables and who sustain our agricultural industry. And they too have been in legal limbo for years because politicians have refused to come together to fix our broken immigration system. Well, as President, I will put politics aside to fix our immigration system and find solutions to problems which have persisted for far too long. For far too long, we have all known this is not working as it can and as it should. And so, as I said at the beginning, these issues are highly consequential for our nation. And the contrast in this election is clear. It is a choice between common sense solutions and the same old political games. In the 4 years that Donald Trump was president, he did nothing to fix our broken immigration system. He did not solve the shortage of immigration judges. He did not solve the shortage of border agents. He did not create lawful pathways into our nation. He did nothing to address an outdated asylum system and did not work with other governments in our hemisphere to deal with what clearly is also a regional challenge. As overdoses went up during his presidency, he fought to slash funding for the fight against fentanyl. And what did he do instead? Well, let's talk about that. He separated families. He ripped toddlers out of their mothers' arms, put children in cages, and tried to end protections for dreamers. He made the challenges at the border worse. And he is still fanning the flames of fear and division. And let me be clear, that is not the work of a leader. That is not the work of a leader. And that is, in fact, I think we all believe, an abdication of leadership. And so on behalf of all across our nation who want to see these problems solved, I say we cannot accept Donald Trump's failure to lead. We should not permit scapegoating instead of solutions. And let's see what's happening. Let's not permit scapegoating instead of solutions, or rhetoric instead of results. As your president, I will protect our nation's sovereignty, secure our border, and work to fix our broken system of immigration. And I will partner with Democrats, Republicans, and independents to do it. Arizona, it is time for us to turn the page on the ugly battles that have characterized our politics. And it is time to move forward together to achieve real solutions that make our country stronger. And I know we can get this done. I know we have the will. I know we have the courage. I know the solutions are at hand, and I know we are ready. And so with all of that, I say thank you. May God bless you, and may God bless the United States of America.